Alrighty. I don't know how the chat's going to show up or anything in this. So I don't know that anybody will even join. So I'm just curious about the chat. If anybody does show up, it'll be weird if what's this do? That's cool. What's this do? Live chat. Close that. Hey. Hey, look at it. We got a couple people in here. Listen, this is all new to me because I've never been live on YouTube on my own channel. So, can anybody hear me? I'm just curious if chat pops up or not, or anything like that. There's 7 people in here. I'm scared. Oh, awesome. That's good. I was curious if, being this format on the phone, whether or not chat was going to pop up or not. I've been live before, like doing the beard stuff, like entered into a conversation with people, and it's always on my laptop. I have a setup for my laptop, mic and all that stuff, but it's just really, it's much easier to do it this way with the phone. I just pop out here. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, normally on Dirt Kart Racer, we go live on Thursdays, but Wesley is an extraordinarily busy person. And it just didn't, he was hoping to go live tomorrow, but I plan on racing. I'm going to go to KB Speedway in Wellsville and try that out. They got 100 to win, 300 class, so this should be fun. I was asking about it, my engine builder, Kyle, and I said, man, I'm way overweight for the 300 class. He says, you'd be surprised that it's a very tricky track, that I might not be, out to lunch that bad. And especially at a small track, I mean, I'm definitely going to lose out on starts. We saw that on my video with the 350 class, that, obviously I'm 385 pounds. It's awfully heavy for that class. And I lose on start, but once you get wound up, I might be all right. We'll see. I got... Came in, Vegas, yeah. Got Vegas all prepped up for it. I got a couple different sets. I got a soft set, and I got a little bit of harder ones there. I think they're 45. I think I got the ones are punching somewhere in the 30s, low 30s or something. But if you guys have any questions, I can see the chat, so I guess we'll do that. If you want me to speak on anything, cool. If not, if you just want to hear me ramble for a little bit, cool. I didn't want to leave you guys out. We had been doing this thing on Dirt Kart Racer for, 5, 6 straight weeks, maybe 7. I lost track of it. But, a couple weeks back to back, it was looking like we couldn't do it on Thursday. And Wesley and I are talking, and we might go live on Saturday, depending on schedules. But, yeah, I'm not going to race back-to-back days. Crooked my glasses are. Is that like that in every video I do? But yeah, Saturday, I know people are racing and all that, but we might go live. There never seems to be like a lot of people that catch us live, but if from my end I can see that the playbacks are great. You guys are doing awesome, and you're watching the playbacks, and there's a lot of really good information in there. I talk fast, and Wesley's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to chassis and stuff like that. what are my thoughts on oil additives? I have never experimented too much with them. Um, I come from this two-stroke world, so it depends what you're talking about. You know, in a performance aspect, I think it's, you know, as long as it's legal, as long as you're not gonna, you know, pop some test or something like that. Oil additives, if they're increasing horsepower, if they're going to, you know, make the oil slicker so there's less damage, stuff like that, less, you know, if it's lubing to a point where it's helping your engine spool up, make better power, all that stuff, I think it's great. You know, whether or not there's, for instance, I run Blendzall Gold label in my two-stroke. So that is highly illegal. It would be, you know, in a two-stroke, it's fine. It's got a caster in it. But if you run it in a four-stroke, it's great for top-end lubrication. It keeps everything, you know, it's mixed in gas as a premix would be, but it's got a booster in it. So it's, you know, if they're testing fuel, something like that's going to pop a test. So if you're adding it to an oil, I would just be weary of, you know, hopefully it doesn't do anything to the oil that it might, you know, if they were to test your fuel or something like that. That's the only thing I'd be concerned about. But other than that, I mean, just run it, man. All right. Sorry, I'm new. What is good durometer to start at? I'm on dirt track running Burris. I'm really struggling with traction. That's a hard thing to say without knowing exactly what track you're on. So if it is dry and dusty, I'll take, for instance, I used to run a track called Paradise Speedway. Very hard, very dry. It almost glazed over with all the carts and cars that run on it. We liked somewhere in the 55 to 60 durometer, give or take. If you're getting on a softer track that's a little wet, you might want to prep a little heavier and get that durometer somewhere. I don't usually run bursts much anything under, say, 52. I mean, maybe 50 if it's a real soppy wet track. I know it's possible. Don't get me wrong. And there are people that will chime in that say, hey, I've run bursts at 30 durometer before. But it's a tire that I don't think that you need to be overly concerned with how low the durometer gets. I've had, you know, bursts that punch 52 that bite absolutely fantastic, even on a harder surface. So it's kind of what you can do. You can also drop air pressure. If you're looking for grip, I know that it may hamper roll speed a little bit, but corner speed is better than straightaway speed, in my opinion. If you have great corner speed, then you're going to have better straightaway speed. So, you know, you may want to play with dropping the, shut up. Okay. I guess I won't do the live. I got, you know, you could play with dropping the air pressure to see if you can gain a little bite in the corner. So I hope that helps a little bit. But yeah, 33s in particular, durometer is not going to, you know, be too awful low. You know what? I have a set of 11s. I've never even put a durometer on them to see what they punch. If I had to guess, somewhere in the 40s, but we'll see. Any other questions? I got to change gear on that cart right there. I got to put a couple teeth. I didn't know if I'd sit down for this whole thing or if I could just kind of tinker in the garage while talking to you guys or not. But yeah, without, you know, I can talk about a lot of things without Wesley driving the conversation. It's a little different for me. But I am taking tires. It's an open tire track tomorrow. Vegas have proved to be the fastest at that track so far, as you know, reports back. I haven't been to KB Speedway. Matter of fact, the last time I was there, it wasn't called KB, and I referred to it as Back River Raceway, and people looked at me weird. I was like, yeah, BRR. And they're like, what? And then finally somebody remembered. They're like, hey, that's called KB Speedway now. So they changed names, and I knew they changed names. I hadn't been there since the track actually did that. But yeah, let's see here. I can bring you around. Why not tinker, huh? As long as it don't stop you from asking questions if you want to talk or at all. Might be a little loud, but we'll see here. I got to add 3 teeth per recommendation for this. I am on an 1160 now, and I was told to be on 1163 or 64 for this track that I'm coming to. Actually, I might want to try a 64, being I'm heavier, if I in fact am going to run that 300 class. I think it's bananas for me to do that, but I will say this, that showing up late like I'm gonna, so I get out of work at 5. There's nothing I can do about that. Got to work till 5, and then it's an hour drive. So I think they have driver's meeting at 7. I should be there in time. Maybe I can get some practice, maybe not. But what it is going to do is I'm going to be able to evaluate how many people are in what class, and if there's a bunch of people in the 300 class, if there's a bunch of people in 375, which is, you know, what I weigh in the cart, we'll go with that. But the money that's being put up by a business, you know, they're lucky enough to get a sponsor for that. They're putting up $100 to win. I'm not going for the money. I don't honestly care about that, but you know, it's worth it. I'm running mostly clone. Opens over there. I gotta do some tinkering on the open. It's a setup thing. Can I switch this around? Oh, look at that. All right, so we're under over here. This is the Scythe. Right there's the Bama engine. It's just this, I have been struggling with setup on this thing for some time now. I don't know. I ran super good in it in 2022. I won the Central New York UAS Championship on that chassis. I won a couple races. I did really well. Everything was hunky-dory. And then I'm missing something. I'm missing the balance on the cart. I don't know what happened. As a matter of fact, that's the chassis I went down. I was at GKK for the Grand Nationals and qualified for the A main, no problem. I got all the way up to 5th by the end of the A main, and it worked really good. And then all of a sudden, I've lost something. I've lost a balance on it, and I think I just kind of, I'm going to throw something at the wall, maybe change my cross setup or something. I don't know if I'm, you know, too heavy on left, if I'm too light on left. I need to throw some stuff at it to see what is going to work. I did some changes the last time I had it out, and it seemed to work okay. What do we got here? We are liking the Reapers. The owner of Reaper was out at the track a couple of, yeah, I know that. I think a lot of the shade that comes for Reapers are people who are just diehard Maxxis people. They have their program, and I have zero issue with that. I got Maxxis sitting up there. They're a fast tire. They're really good. They take a lot of care in order to be as fast as those people who run them. You know, they have a specific program, the re-rolling, to scuff them, how long to set them. You know, they have their process, and I think a lot of the I don't say hate, but maybe it's a little bit of hate, is that, you know, that type of treatment doesn't seem to work on the Reapers. I'll be honest, I got super aggressive with a set of Reapers. I did 4-ounce internal on them because I just, hey, why not? They're $145 a set. Well, it's a dog leg, so it was even cheaper than that, $135, something like that. And I just threw it to them, and what a sprint speed they had. I was right with the leaders, but I tell you what, the tire heated up, and it didn't much care for me over prepping it. So, and I know almost for a fact that people that were running them that beat me or were beating me at that particular track were on very little, if any, internal prep on the Reaper. So, you know, I don't disregard when a manufacturer says, hey, don't prep these tires. There's no need to prep these tires. I think that, you know, I take that with a grain of salt because I have Vagas, and I've run Vagas on my open for years, and they're like, oh, they don't need prepping. And I prep the dog snot of them. And everybody up north here that runs Vagas preps the dog snot out of them, give them gooey, and, you know, for our soft tracks. So when I heard Reaper tell me, you know, oh, they don't need much internal, I was like, psh, I'm going to hit them really hard. So far, that set wasn't very fast, but I did run them on the open at AMS when I was testing there. And the other guys were on Vegas. I mean, Vegas a tire of preference at that track, but I honestly, Dan, that was next to me, he ended up winning the night. When I took off on pole, he was just like, "Did you have the Reapers on?" I was like, "I did have the Reapers on." They were punching 52 compared to his 35 Vegas, and they gripped and ripped. But again, it's not an even assessment because I'm struggling so bad with the balance of that chassis for whatever reason. You know, I don't know what I'm missing on it, but grip was not a factor. As soon as I laid into the throttle, the thing just launched off the corner. So it wasn't a grip thing. The Reapers were biting fantastic. So I think what they're doing is great for the sport. I know it's miffing some people off, Maxxis people, Burst people, Vega even, that they're so cheap and, hey, they consider them throwaway tires, but I don't know. Mine gripped up awesome. They feel great, and I think giving into the sport is a good thing. And some of the paydays are undeniable. So, we'll see about that. All right, what do we got? What are the benefits of such a small driver? 11. How big is the track? Small. If you watch my video, the last one I posted up, it's we're running 9-second laps, something like that. Once the track bites up, you'll get into the high 8s. So it's a 10th mile bowl. And this track that I'm going to now is, it's got a little bit of banking. The one I'm going to tomorrow's got a little bit of banking. But yeah, the tiny little tracks, yeah, small driver, especially somebody my size. I mean, I'm 100, last time I was on the scales, 100, I wish, 212 pounds. So I was weighing in at 385, running class clone 375 and clone 350. So I'm way out at, I need whatever bottom end I can get up off the turn, to help me. But yeah, 11 driver. It's the first time I've run into it. It doesn't, everything I have for the open, has the needle bearings in it. And this has 0 bearings on the 11 driver. It goes, just right over the crankshafts. Pretty cool. Thanks. I have been running Godspeed and yeah, yep, it happens. We replaced the rear axle and spindles on the Scythe. Yes and no. So, yes, I put a rear axle in it. Is that rear axle? I believe that rear axle is still in the Scythe. But the spindles, we replaced the spindles and hubs originally on the Scythe, but then when I was running the Recon, which is this one, the clone, this one, I robbed the brand new spindles and hubs off of the Scythe to put on this because you're, obviously a little more touchy. When it comes to speed, you want everything to be very, the open, it's so violent and everything. It's not that it's not necessary, and yes, I should replace those as well, but the new stuff went on the clone because I know that horsepower is at a premium, and you can't let your front end get all wobbly and stuff like that. But and that may be some of my problem. I mean, the hubs are a little, just a tiny bit of wobble to them, so they could stand to have some bearings. Spindles the spindle bearings, I did replace those, so the spindles seem fine. But the new rear axle is actually in the Scythe. This is the old rear axle in the Recon. But then again, yes, you're more torturous, if that's a word, running open stuff, and that's what I did until this point. But we only ran, this Scythe probably has, since I got it, it's a 2017. They ran half a season on it. And the open, I probably ran it, I don't know, 5-6 times. I did run it with the KT100 at Paradise Speedway there, so I had 10 races on there. So it's somewhere in the 20 region. I could really stand to use new components, or B, to just upgrade to another chassis, and all new components and start there. Maybe sell these off to somebody that, that could benefit for upgrading their equipment type of thing. Ideally, that would be great, but just broke racer like everybody else. I can't afford new stuff. question is, everyone is telling me I need mini gears. What are your thoughts on that? I don't have mini gears, and I know people who have mini gears and they run great. It's unfortunately, without experience with it, I can't tell you indefinitely that they help. I haven't run them back to back to know, hey, this gets off the corner better. That, I would assume, some of it is rotating mass. If you lighten it up, once you lighten up anything, in your drivetrain, it's going to give you more horsepower. That's going to make it perform a little better. Now, Wesley and I have discussed this before, that there's such a thing, and I mentioned it in the titanium video, as it may help you on a shorter track when you lighten up things with things such as mini gears, with things such as titanium and this and that. It may burst off the corner better, less rotating mass, get you more horsepower to the ground. But there is something to be said for that rotating mass when you're running standard components that pulls you into the corner, because there's more oomph behind it when you roll into the chute. When you're getting into the corner, it will carry speed a little better in than lighter components will. I mean, you're splitting hairs though. It's really, I didn't notice that I was losing a ton on any, I'm not running anything. I'm running a floating rear hub that I just happen to have. Lucky me. And the 11 driver, nothing on here is lightened. Matter of fact, I probably have too many axle collars on here to, for some people. Okay. I know Maxxis don't need much more than track tact. Yeah. Anytime I've gone down south and been on Maxxis, I legit use black sand. Black sand and Acrosol, or now I have Track Tac Quick Dry, which is Track Tac's version of Acrosol. So 50-50, at track, or if you want to load them up before that. The one thing, it was kind of funny. So we go to the Grand Nationals and I see, Chrissy and everybody, they're burning in blue tire wash, which it's, I have my opinions on it, and I've talked to Randy at Track Tac about it and what it does to that. And I wouldn't suggest burning in blue tire wash, but you can use, if they're only going to use blue tire wash as a prep for the day, fine, cool, just load it on there. The DRT in it's going to keep crap out of the tires. But here I am seeing them doing that, and I look over and my dad's like, "Oh, I got the tires," and he's just just loading up my tires with black sand, and I'm like, well, we're gonna find out how this goes. Like I was trying to be very sparingly using black sand very sparingly, because I didn't want to lock the cart down, and that may have been why I got faster and faster towards the end of the run down in Georgia, because once I had so much bite in the beginning, maybe it was lagging me a little bit, but once it burned off, it seemed to free the chassis up a little bit, or the cart up a little bit. Yep. Mini gears. 11 for the bully, yeah. 11. I don't know how well you can see it. Here, I'm gonna flip around. Yeah, it's 11. Flip around. Oh, jeez. Do that. Yeah. Right down there. Right there. Yeah, it's just a tiny little 11 gear. I'm currently taking it off. Not getting much tinkering down here, am I? Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If I could afford to do so, absolutely. I would prefer to suggest replacing bearings over an axle, and same with front spindles. But they know their business, especially on high bite tracks. That down south, they know their business. They know what they're doing, what they, if they've seen a change in speed, all that stuff. Absolutely. If I had the finances to do it, absolutely, I'd do that. But I'm currently, this axle that's you just saw or may have seen, is from 2017. So it's what I got. I don't swear on this channel, but I pee with the member that I have, if you know the other phrase. The other phrase that goes along with that. Oh, absolutely. The tire wash, the RC, they have, I don't know if you've seen, TrackTac has RC line there. I'm not much into it. I would love to be, but I need another hobby. Like, I need a hole in that. My wife would murder me. Matter of fact, I have one of my best friends. He loves golf, and he's tried to talk me into golf for years. And I'm sure I could probably get into it because I'm super competitive, but I don't need any more hobbies. Like, holy crap, it's uh, up until a point, we haven't practiced in a long time, but I was in a metal band. Matter of fact, my best friend's the bassist in the metal band. We were doing that for years. I mean, I've been doing band stuff on and off for the past 20 some odd years. Screamer, vocalist type dude. But that kind of petered off. And yeah, the kart racing, obviously. The kart racing didn't used to take up all of my time like it does now, but now between doing the chat or prepping the cart for racing and going racing and all that stuff, and add in the YouTube stuff, answering questions and doing all that stuff, it seems to take up a bit of my time. But yes, the wash would be great even for RC tires. Just clean them up. They're fantastic. Matter of fact, I could come over here. Look at some of my supply. Oh, did you see Mark Martin there? Where'd he go? There he is. So Mark Martin liked, I said something, he had an interview with Dale Jr., and I was on X and Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But I said, it was a great interview or blah, 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 and watched it. And Mark Martin liked my comment. And I was like, and so I found this, and I took a picture with it. Anyway, blue tire wash. Yeah. Hey, look at that. So one might ask why I have so much of it. Am I a dealer? I am not a dealer. I also have some of my cans down here. I am not a dealer, but with the sponsorship of the channel, Kart 63 channel, I carry with me a lot of TrackTac products, and it's more if you see me, I know I'm local, I know I'm in Western New York currently. Eventually, I'm going to be able to branch out and get down to other races, but I'll be carrying some TrackTac products with me. I put up the banner. If anybody needed to try some, you see me at track, come over and say hey. And if you needed to try, if I happen to have it, I mean, I have SST5 here, GK1, I usually use as, at home prep type of thing. But, as far as orange or SQS or SSA grape or BTGP, I have gallons of that in the trailer, all in totes, ready to go. If somebody came by, hey man, I'm low on blah, 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 or hey, do you have any of this? But, yeah, that's part of the deal, that I'm not a dealer for them, but I am I try and represent the company as best I can, getting the name out there. Obviously, I was going live here. I'm like, well, put it on the TrackTac shirt because that's the way that is. I can't thank Randy enough for coming on board. It's we figured company was created in '05, I believe, and I've been using them since at least '07-ish. My dad and I got onto the orange. Before that, we were using wintergreen, and we were using WD-40 on our Burris 33s. Yeah, we went down to Loris, South Carolina in '06. Yeah, it was before the Grand Nationals were the Grand Nationals for UAS. A lot of fast carts, and we went down there with Burris 33s and other people or Maxis and everything else, and we went down there with our wintergreen, and they didn't laugh at us, we just didn't know, and we got offered some orange, and it worked really well, and it was start of the next year that I started using TrackTac products, and the orange in particular worked really good at my home track at Paradise. So yeah, I've met him a couple times, super dude. Chris Harris, anytime I've asked any questions with Chris Harris on TrackTac products, he's been, very upfront with me, and hey, don't do that, try and use this, you might want to try that. I suggest reaching out to them at any time. Mark my nose or any Bristol ones. That's great. Yeah, my dad was obviously he had that cutout, or we used to have my dad used to have what I do for a living, Taft Auto Chassis. It was a body shop, and my grandpa ran Taft Tire, and my dad was a huge Mark Martin fan. Go to Pocono, go to Watkins Glen. I mean, Pocono's 4 hours from me. Watkins Glen is an hour from me. He was a huge Mark Martin fan back in the day. So, I wasn't really into racing back then. I was just a kid doing kid stuff, playing commando out in the back 40 with my buddies type of thing. But, my old man did motocross, and then he was into NASCAR, and then eventually I got into, once I got into racing karts, then I was just like, oh, racing is racing is racing, and all of a sudden I fell in love with it. So definitely a late bloomer. Should make a series of champions here in Ohio. Yeah, I know. I have so many bucket list tracks. Absolutely so many bucket list tracks I would love to go to. I have been to some really good ones. I've raced at Lazoski out in Missouri. Missouri? Was it Missouri? I think it's Missouri. I've been to Possum Kingdom. I've been down to Florida twice. I ran at Tampa and I ran at Jasper. That was awesome. I have been to Liberty in North Carolina. I have been to Capital City in Virginia. Ohio. What's that one at the bottom of the state, right by Kentucky there? That was an awesome track. Route 68, that was in Ohio. I ran there. Pennsylvania, been all over Hunterstown, obviously. I've been to quite a few tracks before. Oh, what was that awesome track? It was in Tennessee. It's closed now. The bought out sucks. That was a phenomenal track. Shoot. I want to say Beach Nut. That's not right. Dumpling Valley. Dumpling Valley. What a facility. What a smooth. Oh, goodness. And it was killer. We went down there for the Grand Nationals one year, and that's the year, boy, Phantom just crushed it. They had the Jawa. And just absolutely, I was the last to get lapped in 7th place. But I went down there. I'm a vag ahead. We have Burris up here, but they were just like, hey, Burris 33s. I'm like, no way. They were just like something white during the, or clear during the day, something red at nighttime. That's what you wipe on those tires. And all right, so we went with it. And man, I qualified into that race. And it was insane. It was so fast. It was so very fast. Yeah, I love it down south. I am a northerner. I'm literally like an hour and a half from Canada. Maybe that's, the way I speak is a little Canadian. I had somebody tell me I sounded like I was from Wisconsin. That was weird. I'm like, Wisconsin. I mean, we're all kind of, Wisconsin's kind of close to Canada. Maybe that's the dialect that is that's coming out there. But I love down south. I love your food. I love your culture. I don't like country. I love your freedom. Uh, it's more gooder than New York. I guess I'll leave it at that. Our 7th mile and usually really dry and slippery. I'm using black sand and a lot. Any ideas that might help with traction? Yeah. Dry and sandy. Yeah, that's what type of tires you running? Vegas. I would probably load if that was me. It really depends. Sometimes, God, I hate this. I always say Vegas when it comes to UAS, but there is something to be said for, Maxxis and that hard concept. Hard track, hard tire. But I would, I might, talking in terms of track tech products, I might try something like Tire Tough Mint. But the thing with Mint is it will give you a ton of bite. It's got a lot of heavy oils in it. It's going to saturate the tire, but you need to let it at least sit 2 to 3 weeks for that bite component that is in black sand is also a component that is in Tire Tough Mint. But Tire Tough Mint, because it's so thick, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to absorb completely. Other than that, my suggestion, I always play with air pressure. I like low air pressure. I know it, especially UAS, because we have so much horsepower that it doesn't seem to, yes, you get a tire tire rollover because of how heavy we are, but the horsepower, your straightaway speed is not hampered by that softer tire. So I like to, it's nothing for me up here to run, 2 and 3 psi in my open on Vaga tires or something like that, and I wouldn't hesitate to. I ran 2 and 3 pounds in on burst 33s. I do it all the time. So it really depends on what tire you're having. If you don't have Tire Tough Mint, if you're running black sand, I might load the tire. Being UAS, again, you can really hammer it. 3, 4, 5 coats of black sand, let it set. Black sand, like mint, the longer you let it set, the better that's going to bite the tire up. It might be worth a shot. Other than that, you can, Vegas punching 35. Okay. Yeah, it's tough. It's, Vegas, man, they drop so simple, so easy, don't they? Yep. Yeah, it's tough. It's dry. Sometimes you run into that case where you want to drop the tire, you want to get super aggressive with hitting a tire with something that's going to drop the durometer, and sometimes that has the opposite effect. I'm not telling you that's what's happening to you right now, but that does sometimes you go too low on the durometer and it's not matching with the surface. If it's hard and dry, people are just like, oh, hit it with goat and just keep on hitting it till it bites. It's just like, well, yeah, it's gonna bite, but if you overheat the tire because of how hard and dry the track is, then that durometer isn't going to like that surface, and it's going to slick off, and all of a sudden you're spinning out and all sorts of groovy stuff. Let's see, can I scroll without messing anything up? Okay, Scott Warning Memorial, yes. Bucket list track, maybe, if I can get that thing sorted, and I have the finances to get there. It's my Durango. I have a 2012 Durango now. It's got Hemi in it. But I'm pulling a little 4x8 trailer. So it averages like 12-ish, 12, 13-ish miles a gallon. Not too bad. It's not bad that, I barely know the trailer's back there. So pulling there, not that big of a deal, just finances for the weekend. It really depends where I'm at when it comes to that race, but I'm well aware of it. It's a bucket list, like I said, bucket list track. I really want to get there, but we'll see how my handling is doing by then. Could be good, could be bad. I don't know. I'm concentrating more on the clone this year. The open is secondary. I just been doing UAS stuff so long that it's kind of fun to play with this thing. I know it's lack of horsepower and all that, but yeah. Left New York to Florida race. So did my old man. My old man is down in Ocala, just outside of Ocala, I think. Just bought some property. He's going to build a house, I believe. He's been renting this entire time. I think he's over that. So I am going to run tomorrow. I am going to run clone, and I'm debating on running 385 pounds in the clone 300 class. I know that not everybody's weighing 300, so. But yeah, I've been told that the track's tricky, so I might not be I'll be at a loss on starts for certain. But if I can time that right, I can even I can mitigate how much I lose there. But once you get rolling, honestly, bite is bite, and if I can get the thing rolling pretty good, if we get green flag laps, I might be okay. It depends on how many are in the class. I'm going to get down there late. I'll be able to observe, who's in what class, how many people they got. I mean, if it's only a couple guys in the 300 class, why not? But yeah. Best way to get a tire to punch higher, ideally time, but if you do not have time and sun, put it out in the sun, let it bake, let it get hot, leave it in the trailer, let it get hot type of thing. But if you don't have time, do I have that over there? One second. I'll be right with you guys. Hexane. Pretty aggressive stuff. Careful handling, storage, all that. Highly flammable. Anyway, hexane will bring the durometer of a tire up in more of a hurry, so will wiping methanol on a tire. Now, careful. Acrosol, Track Tack, Quick Dry, all those things, anything, you know, that is like that is going to, the surface of the tire, it will start to destroy some of the oil. So you're going to, yes, you are going to raise the durometer to meet, you know, whatever surface you want in. If you need a harder tire, if you really need a harder tire, but keep in mind that it starts to break down the surface of the tire and remove those oils. So you may be losing a little grip when it comes to that. Maybe it's something you want to do, but a while ago, somebody suggested hexane to me. I used it a couple times. I got the durometer to come up. It's to be determined how aggressive you are with it. I only needed it up a couple points, a couple, 2-3 wipes. I let them sit for a week, and they came up a couple points. But just keep in mind that things like that are that aggressive, that you know, they can destroy a tire if you go, you know, crazy with it. Oh, 30 miles from McAllen. Yeah, I love Florida. I don't think I like the concept of how busy it's getting down there. But people go where freedom rings, do they not? Probably Maxxis, of course. Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate on running on Vegas. Vegas are going to be sticky, but they run them in Florida. I mean, I hear they work really good on sandy tracks down in Florida. That's why they have Vegas Series and all that stuff. They work really well down there. Now, do I think the yellows are a bit soft for that type of surface? I do, but then again, I don't run it all the time. I know people that they run in Florida, and Vega yellows are all they run. That's what they have. That's what they like. They don't do the Maxxis thing. But I wouldn't hesitate on the Reaper at all. Let's see. So one of my Reapers. And I don't know if anybody saw Chris C. From C High Performance, SEAY, say, I still say when I'm talking to anybody, but he did a video, and he had a Maxxis compared to a Reaper, and he was talking about how these feel to him like the old Dunlops did. They have a natural bite to them. Like when you surface them, and you put a little bit of product on them, they seem to really grip the surface up. You know, and I don't have a ton of experience with Maxxis, but they seem grippier out of the wrapper more than a Maxxis does. Now, I'm no professional with Maxxis, so you know, take that with a grain of salt, what I'm saying there. I am not going to Arizona for the Nationals. Is a 33-hour pull. It's like, holy crap, man. It's like, I can't fricking do that. Oh, you know, it is what it is. I'm sure it would be fun and a good time and all that, but there's something disheartening about the way I've been running with my UAS ride. Again, it's just time. And I'm sure I could figure it out in a weekend or two, because I have some ideas. I think cross is one of the things that with this chassis, I think I want to play with cross. You know, that's the recommended 65 cross. I think that I want to go the other way. I think I want to come down high 50s, low 60s, and see what it does, and start playing with left and things like that, staggers, and play with some. I just need time on it in order to figure out what that chassis is gonna like. And it's hard for me to say that, because AMS is that high bank track, and that's the track that it's really kind of giving me fits on, but it needs something. But I've also found that once I get the cart good for AMS, it seems to handle anywhere I take it. So it's just time, and with me running more clone stuff, I don't have the time in order to dedicate to that. I'm trying to, for the sake of the channel, for the sake of, you know, just me doing something a little different, I've been trying to get the UAS, or the non-UAS, the clone thing, around to be faster. Just, you know, so red clay, is it soft red clay? Better than goat pea or orange? Orange to fire the tire off, better than goat pea. The red loves a heavy track. Absolute great stuff. I also love topaz. Topaz eventually is going to go away, because there's a component in it. Randy was telling me that it got double or triple the price, and he refuses to pay it. People may love, much like me, may love Topaz because it's the closest thing I find to goat pea and that bite. But also, if you hit people that are buying goat pea at the price they're buying goat pea, and then you hit them with the price that you would have to charge for Topaz, people won't pay it, and it'll just, if he had bought it in mass like he would have to make more, people wouldn't buy it and then sit there and go to waste. So he was like, like it may be going away here soon. You're going ready to build a huge karting facility, multi-kart tracks. Nice, cool. I love when it's sad to see all the tracks go away that eventually do go away. My home track, Paradise, went away. I hate it, but I do love to see some people know that that's what they want to do. They want to create a new facility. There's Brandon Clapperton, who does Champion Speedway. He runs that. He's creating, I think it's called Dreamfield or something, up here in New York. It's supposed to be a little higher bank. But eventually when it opens, go check it out, type of thing. Yeah, we'll see. I love it when people, invest and people are willing to put the time into racing and giving us that atmosphere we can all be at and all, do what we love at. So the same thing. Calcium. Everything I've heard down south from the Reapers is they don't need, if you want to do internal cool, don't go crazy. I kind of mentioned that earlier. I overdid a set and it locked me down pretty bad. So that's my experience. I only ran them one time and they kind of sat there since. The set I just showed you, I went a little lighter internal on these, a little lighter external, and I have do I have another set that's even lighter internal than that? I have another set that has their recommended amount of internal in that, and the external I didn't go crazy on. And then I have a brand new set, dogleg set setting over there that have 0 in them. I was aiming on trying those at tracks sometime or another, just by wiping externally for the day's event, see how that does, see what kind of bite a natural Reaper will get. But down south, I'm hearing black sand and acrosol. If you do have a heavier track, I wouldn't, hesitate to put something a little more aggressive to bring the tire in. Don't be overly concerned on duro. They're going to punch 55 to 60 initially, from my experience. And even after all the treatment I put the one set of the one set of Reapers through, the durometer did not drop below 50. It was still sitting at 52, and they bit too good. So just be careful of that. I'm kind of hoping that set I probably won't run for a long time. They're just going to sit there and chill and kind of let the internal dissipate a little bit, and the external, because I did go really heavy on them. But it was a dirty tire rule. I didn't know what to do. I threw them on there. It looked like it was going to be a cooler night, and the track got a little harder, and I was just out to lunch. I race Burris Reapers, feel like they have no bite at all. Really? So some of what you might be experiencing, Burris have their sidewalls, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, are more flexible, and they gain bite where other tires do not. I don't know that it's entirely the surface of the tire that is the advantage when it comes to Burris. That some of the tracks, I mean, like I said, Dumpling Valley, there's a couple other tracks down south that are, if you're not on 33s, you're in trouble. If you try Maxxis on it, you're in trouble. If you try Vega, because I spent all this time with UAS, I hear back from UAS racers, and we have no restrictions on what tires we can run, no matter what surface it is. And they say, a couple of those tracks are like, hey, run 33s or else you're in trouble. There is something about the combination on certain surfaces that the Burris just lends itself better than any tire out there. That's, Burris takes a lot of flack. I see the rumblings. I hear the rumblings. Burris, they're expensive. They're also American made. And when burris work, they work phenomenally, in my opinion. But the Reaper, like I was on a track that, you know, at AMS there, it's a burris track, and you would run 11s on that particular night, or when it track hardens up, you're going to run 33s. Open tire though for open class UAS, they run Vegas punching 35. I was running the matter of fact, this set right here. I was running this set of Reapers for practice and the heat, and aside from my handling woes, the tires weren't the issue. They gripped perfectly fine. I launched out of the corner every time I nabbed the gas. They grab type of thing. So, you know, there's a track that took 3 different types of tires, and I think they were fairly equal. Now, for the feature, you know, I went to Vegas because I was kind of curious, you know, was I missing anything? Everybody picked up 2/10, so I can't say indefinitely that I switched off of Reapers to Vegas and all of a sudden I grabbed 2/10. Everybody in the class grabbed 2/10. And I was like, well, that's, you know, but the Vegas didn't feel that much better than the Reaper. Now, Reaper compared to burris, the construction of the Reaper is more like a Maxxis. So at that particular track, if there's no grip, it may be, you know, a sidewall flex issue more than a tread hitting the surface issue. Just a thought, you know, without being there and experiencing it myself. Yeah, black sand, what I'm hearing, black sand and black sand works really, really well on the Reaper. I have put better than GoPro and Topaz on the other heavy set that need to chill out for a while. Topaz was a little too aggressive on it, and the other has just some blue, but they've been sitting a while, so that's my lightest prep set aside from the unprep set that I have yet to test, but I will get on that sooner or later. Okay, do Kart tires gain and lose pressure over the course of the race from me? Yes, absolutely. So I have yet to do a video on it. Some people will run nitrogen. It's an old trick. Nitrogen doesn't expand due to heat nearly as much as air will, but you can expect that. So especially come off of the track and you could feel it. Put your hands on your tires and you'll feel what tires are actually working. You know, it's an old school method, but you're going to feel what part of your tire, across the tread. Maybe you have too much camber in your right front, negative camber, and maybe just the inside of the tires heating up, not the outside. You know that tire might have to be laid down. But if you're on your right rear too hard, if you're on your left rear too hard, if you feel the tires after you come off, that is heat buildup. Now, any type of heat is going to expand air molecules, therefore inflating the tire. It may be a little bit, but they do. You know, the hotter you get a tire, the more the air inside is going to expand and the air pressure is going to go up. Go down the air pressure some. Yeah, I'd try it. I'd try going down on air pressure. It's worth a shot. I mean, if they're not working the way you are, might as well. You know, I'd rather give up a practice session. I'd rather give up a heat race by experimenting with something. You know, though, yes, everybody wants to, be on pole for the feature or qualifying or whatever, but use practice, use qualifiers or heat races. Maybe you want to try something a little different. Yes, it may start you in the rear of the pack and that may suck initially, but if you find something, if it went negatively, hey, that's the wrong way to go. That's the only way you learn is by figuring out, hey, I went too far this way, I went too far that way. But when I was running the Reapers on the open, I was at 2 and 3 pounds. And by the way, there was a whole bunch of about the D-bead. I don't use hairspray mounting my tires. And I was 440 pounds with my open on the Reapers, and I was running 2 and 3 pounds, and that's either my right front or my right rear. One of the two, not quite sure. They're both sizes the same. They didn't D-beat on me. I mean, that's a lot of friggin' weight. It's also not as much bite as down south, so you know. But there's that. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Earth's atmosphere is 70% nitrogen. So if you're putting pure nitrogen, you're just eliminating that 30%. So it doesn't do that. You're on the new question, but you know how much about Swiss hutless carts? No, I don't know anything about that. What a Swiss hutless is. The hot box, I like to set if I'm growing or shrinking, I like to set it at least 130 degrees. I've gone hotter. Sometimes it hurts when you try and grab the rims out of there, gloves or not. But 130 degrees really, so when inflating a tire, when you want it to grow, inflate it till it's a 1/4 inch above where you want it to be. Heat it up to whatever, temperature you want. I like 130. I think it's, plenty hot enough. Roll it there for a while, get it up to that temperature, take it out. You can dunk it in regular water, but I prefer if you can ice bath. Raid your ice cube tray or go out and buy a bag of ice, whatever. Put that in a bucket. The ice will shock the tire a little better. So there's that. And then shrinking wise, same temperature, but if you can, I like to, if I'm shrinking a left rear, I like to, it'll heat up and then I'll take my pressure gauge and I'll put it on and because the air is expanding on inside, just let it out till it's at 0 again, let it keep on rolling. And then right before you dunk it, let it completely out. Even you might want to give it a little squish depending on how small you want that tire to be. Really get that air out of there with your air pressure gauge and then dunk it in ice water or water to shock it, and try keeping nitrogen in the burst. Burris always had in the imprint there, like it said SS33 or whatever. They always leaked there for years and years and years. And way back when, it was a big secret. This was Burris country at one point in time. Everybody gooped over there, to not let you know. But then again, back then, you were running 11s, 22s, or 33s, and it might be a speed secret. You don't want to let everybody know you're on 22s, or maybe you're using a combination. We used to, Paradise Speedway, when we first started to run KT100s, we used to run 22s inside, 33s on the outside. That was the tire to be. I never gooped over my my numbers though. It might not have been a bad idea. I would say that out of all the tires, Vegas and Maxxis hold their pressures simply the best. Reapers, they have lost some pressure a little bit, not terrible bad, but they've lost some pressure over the, so if you want to keep them sized up, you have to remember to keep on putting some air in them type of thing so they don't shrink down. But Burris I like Burris and I don't mind running them. I think they're great for what they are, but honestly, boy, oh boy, they bleed off pressure like nobody's business, and they will not hold size. Man, I don't need that thing shrinking a freaking 1/4 inch every time I get it. I try and, keep the right sides ballooned up, but they bleed off pressure, and then the next thing you know, you forget about it. You go to check and there's no air in it. It's like, oh. What's going on, man? Yeah, I probably just a couple more minutes here, guys. I know this is on my channel, but I felt bad when boy, I'm sitting over here just terrible lighting, aren't I? Not that you really need to see pretty Ben, but that's a little better. Here we'll put track tag and stuff in the background. Oh, here there's a video for Sunday. That's what it's on, older tires. Oh, what's this one going to be about? Older tires. Yeah, what was I gonna say? I forgot that I freaking moved over here. But anyway, yeah, I felt inspired yesterday, so I actually shot a video ahead of time. I am a procrastinator from procrastinators. I usually Saturday, morning, whatever, knowing full well I have a video due on Sunday. It's my own fault. I'm the one who puts the pressure on me to do that, to have a video every single week. So it's my own fault. But I have the entire week to get it done, and I always wait until it's too late. And then we run into car talk coming home from the track because somebody didn't edit the video. By the way, that video I recorded, I just deleted because I was watching it and I was like, this is crap. I don't like what I said. So I abandoned that concept. And I went with a different one, which is older tire. Well, no, I guess I did I guess they did the titanium thing. And so in this video that I'll be launching on old tires, I will say to you guys, titanium flexes more than standard axles. I was incorrect, and people were sure to let me know. It's all right. It's a stronger metal. One might assume that a stronger metal would not flex as much, but I was incorrect. I'm no metallurgist, but I do a little housekeeping thing in the beginning of Sunday's video. If you watch that, you'll catch it. That titanium actually flexes a little more than standard steel. Cool. And I let people know that. My bad for doing that. And then, boy, people were, I don't want to say mad, but they're giving me crap. My homemade tire surfacer, it's either the rim or a combination of all three. It's old and just put together. And I surfaced tires on it. I don't know, man. It was doing this, and people are like, man, that's bent. I'm like, it's an old axle. I mean, it's got the old 1/4-inch L channel in it, or the keyway channel in it. So I could probably, I have another bent axle around here somewhere. I could probably put a new piece of axle in there if I, whatever. Expecting your seat. Lots of little micro cracks and stuff like that. I have some seriously beat up seats, and mine have. We'll take a peek here. I'll look at my seat. I have a next gen, and it is, ooh, geez, it is holy, because I've had it in a whole bunch of different positions, and in and out of carts, and then my butt starts scrubbing the ground. But it's more, there are going to be little micro cracks and this and that, and I wouldn't say it's the end of the world to have those micro cracks, because I think that it's just my opinion that having the seat flex along with you is not a horrible thing. Unless you're on a super stiff track where you've got to just maintain and don't move, and that's where the cart handles best. I find that a little movement, helps the cart, be in the track. But the holes, if you're a bigger dude, I'm not a bigger guy, but 212 pounds, so I run a large seat, and it takes me a little bit to break in a large seat. But you're going to find a bit of wear in the holes, and eventually they're just going to, you shouldn't be drawing those super duper tight. You need the chassis to let it do its thing. But when you run your bolts, a little looser than super snug, they're going to have a tendency to wallow out those holes. So you're going to see that a little bit. But I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. I mean, I've been running the same seats for quite a while, and maybe that's some of the handling issues I had, but I highly doubt it. Yeah, I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. But then again, this is where somebody like Wesley, who ran carts at the top level, could interject and say, well, you're getting this or getting that. You're just talking to somebody on his channel in his barn here. So it's I'm a northern redneck, so I have a certain way to do things. I love technology. I love the advancement of karting and everything. But there are some things that I don't think mean to make for a hill of beans, if that's the term I'm looking for. That oh, you should be concerned about that, and or you just run your cart. There are certain things you should be very concerned with, and I try and nail those things. But things like micro cracks in a seat, or a little movement here or there, I wouldn't be. I'd rather things move than be just locked down tight as can be. I think that a cart is a cart because a cart is a spring. We do not have springs like cars. So the cart has to do its thing. It has to move. It has to get under you, and you know you can preload it and do all the things, change cross and staggers, and make it do certain things. But when you do all those things, it still needs to do its thing, its intended purpose, which is basically a flat spring-ish type of scenario. It needs to rotate and move, and if you have everything tight right down, it's not allowing it to do that. That's why a lot of like floor pans. For instance, if they are aluminum, they put little grommets in it because they don't want that to stiffen the chassis. They want the chassis to do its thing. Yeah, yeah, we call it within tolerances. Yes, exactly. It's within tolerances. It's pretty close, right? But yeah, there is you can micromanage the crap out of everything. Just it's this and this and this and this percentage is this off this, but there's still the element of driver. There's still the element of racer. There's still the element of bouncing off one another. You're not racing a qualifying lap every single time. The elements are not perfect. The track is not perfect. The everything is not perfect. There's still the racing aspect to it, and you have to allow not only the cart to move but yourself to move, and that's what makes racers racers. Part of partially my opinion there, that you can't take the humanity out of racing. We're not robots. We don't just there has to be movement in everything, and movement in seats, movement in don't bear right down your rear bumper type thing, because that'll lock your rear rails down. Just little things. Make it tight enough that your bumper doesn't fall off. I've lost a bumper or two over the years, and not cool. Definitely not cool. Yes, I agree. But all right, guys, I should probably get off here. I really appreciate everybody coming by. I didn't know how this was going to work. I did, Wesley reached out and messenger, and he was just like, hey, I got this going on. Can we do it tomorrow? I'm like, hey, man, I'm racing, no. So Friday wasn't going to work. And then he mentioned Saturday. So you might see us Saturday pop up on Facebook on Dirt Kart Racer. But if we can't do Dirt Kart Racer, I will try and do this. I'll just make it me, and we'll come over here. And also, I wanted to try this. There is a button on here. Wesley said something about maybe they were eventually kicking lives off of groups, which would be a bummer for Dirt Kart Racer. But if that's the case, I see a button on here. I can bring somebody in. So, and there's also another way. There's a StreamYard and other elements. I can bring people on this, and we could move that whole thing over onto my channel. It's not necessary, but if it needs to be that way, we could do it. But I wanted to give this a whirl and see if it worked. And I don't, obviously, I'm chatty Cathy. I don't mind answering questions. I don't, mind being in front of the camera. But one quick more. I'm running 2015 Ultimate. 15 Evolve? What was that back then? Eccentric? Was it 15 and Eccentric, or was that, what was it? Eccentric. There was, shoot, I had a couple of those. They're not Eccentric. There was Eccentric, and then there was, I was on an Ultramax. Shoot. You think Evolve is this year. Yeah, there's one before the Rival that I had, and I can't for the life of me frickin' think of it. But yeah, anyway, I don't think that I'm on a 17. And I mean, it depends on what level you're going for. If you're at the premium level, if you're trying to run for Maximilian Championships, you need to be on the best of the best. You need to be on fresh stuff. You need to be on, some major. But if you are Saturday night racing, somebody just told me that they're on something fresh and they lost to something, in the like 05 region at his local track. So it is application of knowing a kart. So do I think a 15 is out of the realm of being competitive? Absolutely not. There are fast karts out there, and I say keep up on the components. axles, bearings, spindles. If you can replace those things, it will make for better. But the base chassis, the actual tubing, I wouldn't be afraid to run a 15 at all against most people, unless you're in that upper echelon. And even there's remains to be seen if you're losing that much to those chassis, but that's a discussion for a different time, I guess. But yes, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you coming by, and we will. You'll see me, well, possibly Saturday, and then a video on Sunday. So, yes, Bad Max, Octane. Octane was pre-eccentric. Exceed. I had an Exceed. Matter of fact, UMAX Evolve. Didn't Evolve come this year? 2024? Rival and then Evolve? Not quite sure. All right, guys, I got to get off here. I will literally ramble on forever. So thank you very much, guys. I'll catch you over at Dirt Kart Racer, and then video will be out on Sunday. But all right, later.